When it comes to like overall happiness and well-being, it's less about like your destination, more the direction and the progress you're making towards your goals, your attributes, the things you're trying to achieve. With this, sometimes we feel really frustrated at why am I not changing faster than I would like to? Or, gosh, I really care about this person, but they're just not progressing the way that I would think. Or sometimes a couple will have an argument and say, hey, we want to address an issue, and one partner is more ready to address it than the other. And as we try to fit all these pieces together, there's an important theory called stages of change from Prochaska. What this is, it helps identify different sort of steps along the change process. Oftentimes it's a matter of partners just being in different stages of change, and so trying to get them to be in sync with each other is really important. So there's 6 overall steps to the phases of change. The first stage is pre-contemplation. This occurs when you're not even aware that something's necessarily a problem. And if you're not aware of it, you can't have intent to change it. The next step is called contemplation. Contemplation's where it's like, gosh, I know there's this thing I want to work on, but it feels scary to commit to any action. So I'm just kind of percolating and growing my awareness. Okay, this thing I'm trying to change is a problem. The third stage is called preparation. This is a really, really important stage. This is where you're starting to sort of lay the roots and the groundwork to say, what resources would I need in place to make a sustained effort to change? One of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't spend enough time in preparation. And part of this comes from the idea, so you have, Jedi Master Yoda who's saying, do or do not, there is no try. I love Yoda, he's also incorrect. There's a stage between not doing and doing that makes all the difference in the world in someone's success. After a person has gone through enough sort of preparation, they move to the action stage. Action is when you're saying, I'm actively implementing the changes in my life. I'm trying to incorporate something new, and I'm trying to adjust my system to accommodate this new change. And at some point, after sustained effort, we enter a maintenance phase. Maintenance is crucial. This is where we're trying to see, is there a sustained pattern of this new behavior change that's trying to be implemented? But one of my favorite things about the stages of change is after maintenance is a stage called relapse. Relapse is a part of recovery, meaning anytime you implement change, there's going to be unforeseen consequences in which someone might slip into an old pattern of behavior, but that's okay, because at the center of the stages of change is something called the upward spiral. What that means is, as someone enters into relapse, they're going to get back into each of the stages of change faster, more efficiently, as well as going longer without relapse. And so change really is a process. And again, we started by identifying that, gosh, our happiness oftentimes is tied to our perspective of how much we're progressing, and everyone engages in the stages of change whether they're aware of it or not. People need both stability and adaptability. Therefore, change is a part of adaptability. You can change in meaningful, positive ways. As you examine the stages of change, I invite you to consider what stage are you currently in and what's the next step. As you make consistent efforts to move to the next stage, you will find an increase in value in the changes you're trying to create in your life. I would love to scratch where it itches. What do you guys want to know about relationships? Put in the comments below and I will answer your questions.